Wrestling as we return to the Stronghold, February 8th of 2020, back here in Connellsville, Pennsylvania. My name's Jim Alana, being joined by Paul Atlas. And the last time we were in this building, that man you see in the ring right now, Jim Sterling, shocked the world. He was playing with a marked deck. It was a well-laid-out plan. He and Gavel David Lawless in cahoots the entire time, Paul. We were set up. It was rigged. It was all a power play for the ruling class.
That's exactly right, Jim, and I know that's got you a little flustered right now. You can't even tell what year it is, but this guy, I've been told to keep a different tone with our new boss, or I'm going to be counting unemployment checks.
Human resources from the ruling class is going to reprimand us.
Turn it on when you give it to me. Remember who's in charge now.
We've read alone.
The general manager.
This guy's a
the
bully.
Executive commander. Why do you boo me? Why boo me? When first you greeted me with cheers. Do you feel like we lied to you?
Yeah!
Manipulated you?
Yeah!
Exploited you? Yeah! That's politics, baby!
They're idiots! Space politics!
Yes, despite my initial populist rhetoric.
Space potato!
You terrestrial pedestrians will bow and scrape before the Star Eater!
I'll put you in jail and lock away the key! Oh no! That's not a real thing either!
You are men of the people, look elsewhere. Look to your precious Tony Johnson. Tony Johnson wants to be a man of the people, wants to be a man of the fans. But surely, even you as fans know that you are trash. Surely you must know this.
That's hurtful.
When the show is over, you will get into your trash cars,
That's the guy with
drive to your trash homes,
Hey,
where
listen!
you will stare
You brought a guy who raided Matthew
at
Broderick's
your trash families and trash children. You will know your trash jobs, live your trash lives, and when you die, you will be thrown in the trash.
There's a lot about trash.
If any of you died right now, the only tragic loss would be the time we waste dragging your carcass into the alleyway to rot.
What a wretched human being.
And I'm getting letters from
The
Human
world
Resources.
will lose nothing when you are all gone. And looking at some of these little young screaming ones, the world would be better if they didn't get much older. Now tonight, now that we know where we stand, tonight the ruling class will show you why we were born to lead. Your executive commander Sterling, my minister of law, my friend, the Gavel, David Lawless.
Yeah, I wonder how the Gavel got that title shot, Paul.
I'm telling you.
And my minister of just being very bloody sexy, MP Young.
Looks like he needs to take a few tests himself, don't you think?
You love the taste. Now tonight you terrestrial pedestrians will enjoy what we serve you. You will smile and ask for more. And by the end of the night, you will all thank God for me.
Not so much.
Well, Paul, as wretched as that was, let's be clear here. Contractually, I hate to say it, but Jim Sterling is in charge of Ryse Pro Wrestling. We are at the whims of a madman in many senses, and tonight the champion, Tony Johnson, could have all the odds stacked against him.
Well, that and now he's teaming up with his Charlotte and David Lawless and MP Young here. Oh, wait a minute. Well, we're about to get into our first matchup before the ruling class has left the ringside area.
Scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, weighing in tonight at 165 pounds. From Cambridge, Massachusetts, he is LaMar.
Oh, let's not forget, it was Lewis himself that fought on behalf of Jim Sterling. It was Lewis that risked his body, risked his well-being, and defeated the Gav in a matchup to secure Sterling's general managership, so to speak.
Well, let me ask you this. How do we know Lewis wasn't in on it?
Well, he didn't look very happy to see Jim Sterling, I'll tell you that.
Well, we all thought Sterling was going to be a straight-up GM, too, and you saw how that worked out. And don't get me wrong, I love Lewis. I hope he had nothing to do with it, but I'm questioning everything here tonight.
Lewis with some Kobe action in a tribute to the late great NBA legend.
Rest in peace, buddy.
And introducing his opponent.
Last cigarette on my teeth. She's an actress, but she ain't got no need. She's got money from her parents and a trust fund back east.
From Spencer, Indiana, weighing in tonight at 172 pounds. He is Wild Heart Cole Radric.
Oh, this young man making his debut here in Ryse Pro Wrestling. Cole Radric may be new to the stronghold, but he is certainly not new to the world of professional wrestling. A 5-year pro out of Indiana. He has competed all up and down the East Coast, all across the independent circuit. Game Changer Wrestling, freelance pro wrestling, the list goes on. He is a talented athlete that is proving his worth everywhere he goes. However, he brings a bad attitude with him. A very brash young man, to say the least.
Yeah, well, we're going to see what he has here tonight as he faces the Ricky Morton of Ryse Wrestling. Lewis, the man with a heart as big as all outdoors.
As we've heard, Cole Radric, based out of Indiana, has wrestled around the Philadelphia, New Jersey area, as far out in the Midwest as Chicago. However, to make a name and to stake a claim here in Pittsburgh, Radric's going to have to do it here in Ryse Pro Wrestling.
That's right, and against one of the top stars of Ryse Wrestling, Lewis.
And what I'm going to ask you here, Paul, before our bell, if you're Cole Radric, how important is it for a young man to really expand their horizons early in their career?
Oh, it's very important. This is where you sink your teeth into it. You get to learn how to do it. One thing you got to do is not worry about these fans at ringside. Worry about the guy in front of you, because they're not going to get you paid, kid.
Yeah, Radric making no friends here in his Pittsburgh arrival. But, Paul, we've talked about it time and time again. The way that these fans have adopted Lewis is so remarkable.
Oh, how could you not? Like I said, the guy's got a heart as big as all outdoors. He fights and scratches and claws for Ryse Wrestling. That's why I say, I got to question some things. I hope he had nothing to do with this thing with Sterling. I have a feeling he didn't because, like you said, those were some looks he was given. I've never seen Lewis have an expression on his face like that before.
Lewis has been undersized and underestimated his entire life.
Well, sure, he had his lunch money stolen, his underwear yanked over his head, all because he's smart.
But I'll tell you what, he defies the odds each and every time he's in that squared circle.
Sure.
Paul, you know it as well as I do. When Lewis began his pro wrestling journey, when he started training to be a professional wrestler, many people just assumed he wouldn't make it.
No.
But he's here, and he's a damn good professional wrestler, but he's also in there with another young lion of this industry in Cole Radric. As we've said, Radric has something to prove here, but to your point, he cannot allow our jam-packed crowd, we're running out of chairs here, to get in his head, because as we've said, he's got his hands full with Lewis the athlete.
That's right, the task at hand is in front of you in the ring, not sitting at ringside.
Of course, Lewis looking to rebound after he was choked unconscious the last time he was in this building by Troy Wards, who will challenge his military intelligence tag team partner Drake Braddock later tonight. And notice though, even though Lewis did suffer a devastating loss the last time he was here, he picked himself up and he's back ready to fight again with as much enthusiasm as ever. That's really the characteristics that have defined his career.
There is no quitting this young man, that is for sure.
And Radric obviously showing a nasty side just in the opening frames of this matchup. Lewis ducks again here. We know Lewis loves to thrive on that momentum. And I believe, to your point, he is outthinking the debuting Cole Radric.
Yeah, well, apparently his asthma got to him a little bit too on that. Taking a hit of that, at least I hope it's asthma medicine.
Asthma to the eyes, asthma to the eyes. One I thought I'd never say, but we've seen it as Lewis follows up with a series of arm drags.
We've seen it all here in Ryse Wrestling, using his legal medication to gain an advantage.
Yeah, we would think it was an illegal object, but it's legal medication. So some legal gray area there.
Maybe we need to get Lawless out here and fill that one in.
Please don't ever suggest him coming out here
sorry,
again.
I had a momentary lapse.
That's all right, it happens at your age.
Yes, it does.
Radric here trying to recover, hangs up Lewis.
Yeah, well, that tie that Lewis wears in the ring, from back in his college days where you had to wear coat and tie, that worked to a disadvantage there for Lewis, as Radric used that as a weapon.
Now wait a minute, those prescription goggles are, that's the eyewear that Lewis legitimately needs to see, and if he can't see, he didn't see that one coming.
You can't see, you can't fight.
And we are seeing the vicious side of Radric.
I'm a reporter, come on. You tell, bro. How about you shut your mouth? You shut your...
For some reason, Radric is getting under my skin here a little, Paul, because he's not just here for the competition. He seems to enjoy antagonizing our fans.
Well, everybody knows if you want to come to the best competition there is, you got to be here at Ryse Wrestling. That's why they're coming from all over the country, and that's why Radric's here tonight.
Snapmares him out. And this is why strategy here, Paul. Clearly, Cole Radric's been going to IndyWrestling.us and the Indie Wrestling Network, where you can catch all the Ryse action, to study Lewis ahead of this matchup, because he knows, as we know, that Lewis fuels himself on momentum. If you ground Lewis, you take away half of his offense almost instantaneously.
Well, yeah, one of the advantages or disadvantages to our technology age here is you can go out there on IndyWrestling.us and pretty much scout any opponent that you have.
And Lewis still doesn't have those prescription goggles, but Radric does, and he just head kicked Lewis right behind the ear.
Without his glasses.
Pinpoint shot. And it feels like Radric could be toying with his opponent. Paul, that's a mistake. I hate to say it. I'm not here to criticize. When you have an opponent down, you have to try to finish this matchup, especially with Lewis. You give him a second chance, you may be the one looking up at the whites.
Yeah, you are not going to get Lewis with a cheap pin like that.
Radric trying to follow up here. Seems like a very angry individual. Lackadaisical cover will not get it done.
Maybe a lack of compassion for his mother as a small child. Now, if he was my kid, I'd smack him in the teeth.
Again, Radric being resourceful may not be the most moral thing to do, but using that tie to control Lewis, puts him down to the canvas, lateral press, not enough body-on-body contact that time.
No, he's really taking Lewis for granted here with these lackadaisical covers. And yeah, you are not going to beat Lewis that way. We've known that for years now watching Lewis.
5 minutes gone by, 5 minutes.
Paul, clearly we've seen in the opening moments here, Cole Radric is extremely talented inside the ring ropes. But the one flaw in his game may be the tunnel vision that he's developing, trying to jaw jack with these fans.
Yeah, you can't pay attention to these fans. You can't let them get under your skin, or you are going to be the one on the short end of the pay window.
I believe this crowd
They're trying to help Lewis find his glasses. Kind of a game of Marco Polo, if you will.
He got him. He can see.
And I'm sure Radric doesn't understand. Yeah, Radric doesn't know.
The stigmatism is gone. Lewis can see. Beautiful back elbow off the ropes.
Got the leg hooked.
Radric showing his durability. And man, is this crowd behind Lewis. Oh man, Radric intercepts Lewis and just planted him with that clothesline.
Just like that, turning the tables back into his own favor there.
And we've said it several times, Paul. Lewis is very tenacious. It's going to take a tremendous amount of effort to put him away.
Well, Lewis will fight tooth and nail. We know that to be true. We've watched it many, many times throughout Lewis's career.
The way that Radric is stringing these moves together. He got caught.
He got him, but I don't know if he got all of it, though.
That may be enough.
It was.
The winner of this match as a result of a pinfall, Radric.
Paul, you were right. That maneuver may have only stunned Cole Radric, but it stunned him just enough to get that 3 count and the victory.
That's all it took, was that little bit.
Just like that, pro wrestling is quite literally a game of just 3 seconds, and in those 3 seconds, Lewis seals the victory. And as talented as Cole Radric is, it just wasn't his night.
Well, I'd have to think, based on his performance, we have not seen the last of Cole Radric, that's for sure. But tonight, the victory goes to Lewis.
Introducing first, at the weight of 365 pounds, the team of Lee Moriarty and Tyler Lydol, Original Sin.
Another pair of debuting athletes here as the combination of Tyler Lydol and Dick Michaels, known as Original Sins, are here in the Stronghold. And Paul, from what I understand, these are 2 nasty, disgusting individuals.
From what I understand, they robbed 3 7-Elevens between home and here tonight.
These 2 have taken the Midwest tag team scene by storm. Over the past year, they have really started to etch their names into the independent scene, into the conversation.
That's right, Original Sin, originally out of Las Vegas, Nevada, now making their home in Indianapolis, Indiana, where they're tearing up the territory.
And introducing their opponent. From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the team of Unbreakable Shawn and the Scary Diamond Dog, Ziggy Haim, Keystone State Dudecore.
He is unbreakable. She is a diamond dog. They are the Keystone State Dudecore. 2 of the most talented, 2 of the most unique, and two of the most dynamic athletes on the roster here in Ryse, as the Keystone State Dudecore look to begin their journey to a potential tag team title shot.
That's right, they're looking to climb up the ladder to Ryse Wrestling. They're looking to get the main event, our current brand tag team champions, and a little shout out to them as they are future of honor here tonight. Good luck to you, boys.
But take care of this nicely, Damien.
Go ahead and get out of here.
I'm gonna get the Damien.
Come on. Yeah, that's what I thought, Fat Boy. You better take that jacket.
There's just a little dissension here between the Dudecore here, trying to figure out who's going to start this match.
Please take that.
That is Dick Michaels there inside the ring ropes. His partner Tyler Lydol on the outside. Looks like Michaels is going to get started against Shawn Phoenix. And Paul, this is really, despite being the Keystone State Dudecore, their return to tag team competition. They were successful the last time they were in this building as a tag team. They were also both successful in singles competition just 2 weeks ago at our event in Baldwin, Pennsylvania. Ziggy Haim defeated Tyra Klein. Shawn Phoenix defeated Derek Direction via disqualification. Ziggy was there for Shawn Phoenix, had his back against the Grindhouse. They appear to be on the same page. However, they're going to have to rack up those tag team victories if they want to make their way to that championship, as you said.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that the last couple of times since Shawn Phoenix has come back from that devastating injury, I don't know if he's fully recovered, at least mentally. We've seen he's been kind of hesitant to fly.
Yeah, it's stemming from that hellacious, life-threatening injury he sustained in October of 2018. And not only is it remarkable to see him in the ring, but even more remarkable that he's still alive, quite frankly.
I'm not going to take anything away from Shawn Phoenix. He battled back hellaciously from that injury, but you got to wonder if his mental state of mind is where it needs to be.
Hey, little girl wants to lock up with me.
Quick tags here as Lydol will square off with Ziggy Haim. Collar and elbow tie up here. And while Lydol may have underestimated Ziggy, I believe he's learning quickly right here that despite her small stature, she will fight anyone. She will back down from nobody. And again, some nice tag team continuity from the Dudecore.
Yeah, we've seen them starting out here, quick tags in and out of the ring, keeping a fresh person in, get injured every time, trying to get the upper hand here on Original Sins.
Something you can appreciate here, Paul. Quick tags, sign of a fluid and solid tag team.
I thought you were going to say Original Sin since I was around since Adam and Eve.
Well, that too. What was it like back then?
Yeah, there's a lot of snakes around. Kind of like the business.
You didn't have to worry about tan lines or sunburn or anything. Jinx psyching her opponent out there, went for the collar and elbow, slapped on a side headlock, avoids the contact there, misdirection. And she is just one, maybe two steps ahead of Lydol here as she continues to dictate the positioning and allowing the Keystone State Dudecore to continue to employ some tag team strategy.
Now, much like our first match, Ziggy Haim always got to try and stay one or two steps ahead of her opponents because she is always at a size disadvantage in that ring.
And there's a cheap shot. Michaels blindsides Phoenix, and now the tables have tilted rather quickly. I wouldn't even call that a cover, showing no respect to the skill that Phoenix has.
I don't really think he wanted to end the match just yet. These guys are nasty individuals.
Paul, to give you some insight into the motivation of the Original Sins, they cite their hero and inspiration as the late G.G. Allen.
I'll tell you what.
Now, I'm not going to speak ill of the dead, but I don't think there's enough Clorox, bleach, and sanitizer in the world to ever clean up G.G. Allen.
No, not at all. Not at all. That just shows you the mindset of these two guys. Like I said, there's a rumor going around they robbed 3 7-Elevens on the way into town.
And speaking of not enough bleach or sanitizer, Michael's hair looks a little greasy, don't you think?
Just a bit.
Man, contact there. You saw the head ricochet on impact. And I don't have to tell you how dangerous that maneuver can be. Jamming the kneecap into the canvas finds two.
That'll tear some ligaments and tendons, not just create impact.
Oh, absolutely. The ACL, the MCL, the meniscus, the patella tendon, all susceptible to damage in that situation. And when you come to the Firebird, if you ground the Firebird, he's not flying anywhere whether he wants to or not.
That's exactly it. You've got to get. It seems to be the strategy the Original Sins is trying to employ here. Keep the Firebird grounded and employ their physical domination.
Back heel trip, allowing the Firebird to rally here. Nice kick to the spine, provides some offense.
Now here goes Shawn here now. Is he going to go to the top? Looks like he may fly here.
He's perched. And he took too much time, Paul. Even though Michaels used George Ross in that exchange, I believe Phoenix, he hesitated. He had enough time to take off there.
And is that hesitation, like I said before, a part of the mental state of Shawn Phoenix right now? In past, he would have just climbed directly to that top and flew off, but he took his time.
You can see how gritty the Original Sins are. Quite literally scratching and clawing any way they can.
Oh, they're gonna get a victory no matter what they gotta do.
And you can see Phoenix fighting with a sense of urgency, but again, his head snaps back from the forearm. And Paul, I'm going to ask you, I know that you weren't a perfect angel in your wrestling days, but how do you prepare for opponents that are willing to gouge your eyes out if they get the opportunity?
You better be ready to gouge them right back, because if you're not going to fight fire with fire, if you're going to continue to follow the letter of the law while your opponent's breaking the rules, you're going to definitely end up on the short end of the purse strings.
And Tyler Lydol trying to incense Ziggy, which is only going to put her partner in more peril here.
Yeah, I know she thinks she's helping out, but she's really doing more harm than good by taking the referee's attention away.
Lydol charges in, gets hung up. Regal suplex, drops Lydol on his head.
Now Shawn's going to get over to Ziggy and make a tag here.
Very opportunistic wrestling from Shawn Phoenix, but can he follow up?
Yeah, he's got to capitalize on this. He's taken a tremendous amount of punishment over the last 4 or 5 minutes. He's got to get to Ziggy Haim right now if they have any chance of winning this match.
Simultaneous tags here.
Here we go.
You want to talk about dynamite? That is Ziggy Haim right there.
Using her head as a battering ram right now. Pinballing back and forth on both members of Original Sins.
Look at the energy. Ziggy Haim is all action inside the squared circle.
She's got him set up here.
Ashes to ashes connects. Running knee to the face.
Snaps the head back. Can she get it here?
That's a good way to break a nose. And to your point, Paul, they're fighting fire with fire. They're getting as gritty as they have to.
Yeah, you got to be willing to get down in the dirt if you got opponents who are doing the same thing. If you want to win, it's all about the wins and it's all about the championships. That's what you got to do.
Michaels is checking his teeth, and again, Phoenix. Was he going to the top? Is he going to the top?
There seemed to be a little exchange there with Ziggy and Shawn. Which Shawn, is he out in the corner there? He's not moving.
Oh God, Ziggy got caught, and she got spiked.
Shawn Phoenix at the last minute breaks up that pin and makes the save.
Paul, there was some clear miscommunication there from the Keystone State Dudecore. It almost cost them.
I'm starting to wonder if they are on the same page. If Shawn's inability to fly is starting to have an effect on this team.
Man, Michaels hit the floor hard. He could be out of this one.
Shawn caught with that big boot to the face now.
Wait, Ziggy's up top. Lydol doesn't see him.
Shawn out the back door.
Phoenix connects with the enziguri. It's Ziggy up top now.
Now she's gonna fly. Missile drop kick off the top. Lands square on. Look out here.
She's got Lydol hooked up. Crucifix driver. She got it.
The winners of this match has a resultable pinfall. Ziggy Haim and Shawn Phoenix, Keystone State Dudecore.
Paul, that was a great win, but I gotta call it as I see it. There's something going on in Shawn Phoenix's head.
Yeah, I don't think he's come fully back, at least not mentally, from that accident that he had, from that injury that he had. And I don't know if Ziggy kind of looking out sideways there. She's trying to help Shawn, but I don't know.
Well, you can't hesitate in professional wrestling, and it may be a matter of time before that hesitation could cost Shawn Phoenix.
Standing at 5 feet tall, she is the thorough female Honey Badger!
The fiercest female in Ryse has been hell-bent on a mission of revenge.
She has one thing and one thing only on her mind, and that is Shirley Doe. She has called Doe out. The question is, will Doe answer that call?
Just a few months ago, in our 3rd anniversary spectacular, she put an end to Christian Noir. Paul, we've seen Noir go to war with everybody. No one could put that sick man down, but it was the Badger. She was gonna do whatever she had to do to take out the Grindhouse.
Well, she beat Noir at his own game, the mind games.
And she is incensed.
And the ball's in Shirley Doe's court here. I don't know if he's gonna show up or not.
Could Doe be the next one to meet his demise via the Badger? We thought nobody would put Noir out, but she did it. Could Doe be next?
Well, Doe is the master of the mind game. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be something to see here. And that's Shirley Doe's music we're hearing right now.
And Paul, this isn't even a scheduled matchup. This is supposed to be, this is going to end up being a fight is what we're going to see.
Yeah, they better clear the parking lot. These two are going to go at it everywhere if this breaks down.
They're not going to talk this one over. And there is that partially broken hand via Lee Moriarty.
The last time I was in this building. Bring it on. Is shut up the best you can do? Is that the best that Ryse can do? The last time I was here, Lee Moriarty broke my wrist. But I ain't dead. I'm still here. And you two, I heard everything you two had. Shut up. Shut up when someone better than you's talking. These two said, oh, I can't wait for Shirley Doe to give up. How impartial, Ryse. How impartial are these fools?
Doesn't have anything to do with us.
How stupid are each and every one of you? You're stupid, kid.
To yell at us for.
Shut up and sit down. And
Shirley.
you screaming harlot. just one of them all. Because I did not come here tonight to fight Honey Badger. You people want to see us fight, don't you? You're not getting what you want. Because I have decided that I have a pest problem. And what do? Shut up. Shut up and go to hell. I hate everything about you, and I can't wait till you die so I can piss on your grave.
Can somebody cut his mic, please?
I decided to get rid of this squirrel, to get rid of this raccoon. Shut up, Paul Atlas. I have decided to add to the grindhouse. Ladies, there's no ladies here. Stupid gentlemen, may I introduce you to Scarlett.
What? No.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Oh my God!
Look out.
Oh, she's here!
We know this young lady. She's very dangerous.
She is Scarlett!
I cannot
Wait a minute.
believe. How did Shirley Doe pull this one off?
She is one of the most dangerous. Paul, we know who that is.
We know exactly who Scarlett is.
One of the most dangerous young athletes in Pittsburgh, and she's at Ryse. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable. She's still trying to get at Shirley Doe. Badger, you better pay attention to what's going on here.
Badger's
Don't take your
going
eyes off
after
Scarlett.
Doe. Paul, Scarlett's a psychopath. She's unbalanced.
And just when you thought Shirley Doe couldn't go any deeper, he goes and finds Scarlett. Is there any? I'm at a loss for words for right now, and you know, I got to tell you,
Paul, Scarlett was mentored by Noir. Badger takes out Noir, and Scarlett is here to exact revenge on Badger.
unreal. I cannot believe we are witnessing the birth of Scarlett here in Ryse Wrestling. Shirley Doe pulling another card out of his sleeve. And I'll tell you what, I don't care what he says. We're out here doing our jobs. If you don't like that, hey, go sign with somebody else.
And Badger trying to latch on to Scarlett, and obviously she wasn't prepared for Scarlett. We weren't prepared for Scarlett.
Is anybody ever prepared for Scarlett?
She is a psychopath. She is a walking rage. We've seen her attack security officials. Part of the reason we haven't seen her at Ryse is because of how dangerous she is. She can't be controlled.
And I can't believe it. I guess, you know, our new GM, Sterling, I don't know if he knows of her reputation or he just doesn't care, but apparently he signed Scarlett to be here at Ryse Wrestling. But Badger's holding her own right now, trying to do what she has to do to try to fell this giant.
As we said, Noir mentored Scarlett, so she has a personal stake in this thing.
Sure, Shirley Doe definitely knows everything about Scarlett, just from Noir, I'm sure. And I mean, I don't know, is this guy, I mean, I know we haven't seen him for a while, but is he still behind the scenes pulling strings here, or what's going on? I mean, Shirley Doe sinks to the...
Oh, man, interception from Scarlett as she powers Badger down, and that's what's so dangerous about Scarlett. She's completely unbalanced, and she is so aggressive. She will hurt an opponent any way she possibly can. She has no conscience as Badger kicks out at 2, but that may not be a wise decision because the Badger may not be able to walk out of here.
Well, let's not just talk about it. I mean, the fact that Scarlett is here, I mean, Shirley Doe once again has something on his mind, and that's trying to end somebody's, not just their career, but their life. He has gone after Christy K. He's gone after Brandon K. He went after the entire Ryse roster.
And you knew this was coming.
Oh,
Doe,
sure.
showing what a man he is, he's going to take the cheap shot when Badger is clearly impaired already, clearly suffering the effects of the wrath of Scarlett.
Well, hey, I'm not going to say Shirley Doe's a stupid individual. He's very intelligent. He knows when to strike.
Crazy like a fox.
Exactly. He knows
But
exactly
Scarlett is
when to
just
strike.
damn crazy. She's young, she's impressionable, and she's being guided by a very dangerous mind.
You know, and you and I have seen this young lady before in other places, and you know, we have always said she is a dangerous individual, but how dangerous is she going to be now? with Shirley Doe. Shirley Doe guiding her through the waters of Ryse Wrestling.
Scarlett is just 20 years old, Paul, and already she has made headlines and turned heads. People have taken notice of Scarlett. As you can hear the contact as she batters the Badger in the corner. And the look in her eyes tells the story.
And look at that look in Badger's eyes. She has taken an incredible amount of punishment. I mean, come on. At that Ryse Grindhouse War, we thought Badger was dead from that attack, that chair shots that she took. But she's standing back in this ring to fight.
They tried to end the Badger's career, and she's coming back for each and every one of the members of the Grindhouse.
Sure, and this, like I said, this is how sick and twisted Doe is. He doesn't want to just end careers. He wants to end lives.
And I'm going to make this quick. He wants to come out here and yell at us. What we do is our job.
That's right.
Tell me I don't give Doe credit for everything he's accomplished in the wrestling business. But that doesn't change the fact he's a rotten bastard, and I'm going to say it.
That's right. I'll tell you what, this guy is very accomplished. But, you know, I'm sitting out here. I'm retired. Don't be barking orders at me, dude, because I'll tell you what, I'm not going to put up with it.
Look out. Cannonball in the corner squashes the Badger. And, Paul, I got to be honest with you. I'm a little uncomfortable. I'm never going to sell Honey Badger short. She is a great athlete. We've seen it time and time again, but the odds are stacked against her. And we know Doe's intention. Doe's intention is not for Scarlett to win this matchup. Doe's only mission is to put the Badger out permanently.
Sure. Honey Badger called him out, and in his mind, you don't do things like that. So now he's going to show Honey Badger just exactly in his mind who is in charge here at Ryse Wrestling. And it's Shirley Doe, and it's the Grindhouse. These guys time and time again have gone out of their way to ruin everything about Ryse Wrestling.
And look at the way that Scarlett meticulously picks at an opponent. And you can see she gets off on this stuff. She enjoys hurting other people.
Slow, methodic torture. I mean, hey, I have to say it. She is a perfect fit for the Grindhouse with the mentality that she has, with the thirst for violence that she has. She's a perfect fit.
And the most dangerous part of it all is she's talented, Paul. She has the ability to hurt people.
Get up! She's getting angry!
But the Badger, she survived the chair shot, she survived that war with Noir, and she sure as hell is not going to lay down and let someone end her career.
And now she's trying to chop down the big tree here.
Yeah, Scarlett has that height advantage. Badger going to try to employ that low center of gravity, as you're seeing right here, taking out the ribs.
Can she knock the big woman off her feet?
Badger intercepts.
Charlotte almost down to a knee there, but not quite.
Oh, man. Again, Scarlett has no care for her own well-being. Using her head as a weapon has absolutely no hesitation on Scarlett. And you want to talk about two fierce athletes. They're exchanging these punches, Paul. They're punching each other
Heavy
in the
leather
face.
being laid in by both women right now. Scarlett,
she's begging for more.
Daring her to.
It's a war of attrition in the stronghold.
Referee trying to get in here and separate these two young ladies, and they're just hammering each other.
Come on now!
And referee George is trying to associate a matchup and forget about it.
There goes George, and they're going at it. And I believe he's
Clearly,
called
this
for
one
the
has
bell.
to be thrown out.
George is called
This
for the bell.
won't be contained. This won't be controlled.
This match has ended.
Wait a minute here. What's going
Oh,
on
wait a
here?
minute.
Come
Doe
on.
just jumped the...
Come on now.
Doe just jumped the Badger.
Picking
Paul,
his
I'm telling
moment.
you, they're going to try to hurt her. They're going to
He
try to
just
end the
picked his
Badger's
moment.
career.
This is ridiculous. And you know what, Jim? I've had about enough.
Paul, where are you going? Paul, where are you going? Paul, where are you going? Paul Atlas just left. And Paul Atlas just hit the ring. A good damn thing he did. Paul Atlas has had enough, and damn it, so have I. Paul Atlas came to the aid of the Badger, And Scarlett doesn't care. Chair or not, Scarlett wants to go over Badger. And we're going to need some security out here. And Doe is completely lost.
Jim, I guess I gotta apologize, but I've had just about enough of Shirley Doe in the grindhouse.
I have to make sure we're still on. We got all our equipment. I got the hell out of here.
I don't blame you.
I left because this isn't my job.
Okay. You're not a fighter, we know that.
Well, that's supposed to be.
Right.
I signed a contract to talk here. I'm sorry, give me a second, I'll compose myself.
I know, you gotta get yourself together here.
Because we've got...
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right, I'm going to compose myself.
Try and get back here and be a little bit more professional here, I know. I'm sure I'm going to get another letter from Human Resources, but to be honest with you, I've had enough of Shirley Doe.
Yeah, well, so have I. But right now, we have a potential show stealer on tap as the apex of combat, the Black Dragon, and the best pound-for-pound athlete in Pittsburgh squares off against MV Young of the ruling class.
The Lee Moriarty, the man that I have always called money, and last night Lee Moriarty took Alex Shelley to the limit. But hey, let's not forget too, MV Young was in action last night in New York in a no-ring bar fight match.
Paul, we've talked about on many occasions how Ryse Pro Wrestling brings the best young athletes on the independent scene. To your point, Lee Moriarty competed against independent wrestling legend Alex Shelley in a submission matchup in Absolute Intense Wrestling, our friends from Cleveland, Ohio, in a matchup that pundits are calling a potential early match of the year candidate. That speaks volumes. Lee Moriarty went step for step with one of the best of the past generation. MV Young is so adventurous. As you said, a no-ring bar fight in New York. That's why he has several bandages on his arm and his back.
And that also shows you the diversity of athlete here in Ryse Wrestling. A bar fighter and what has to be one of the best technical wrestlers, the best wrestler with the most knowledge of styles of wrestling going one-on-one together right here at Ryse Wrestling.
And keep in mind, those two athletes in their own way endured a hell of a test last night. And there'll be no excuses. They're going to be here in full form tonight, less than 24 hours later.
Well, that's what makes these guys great. That's what makes Lee Moriarty money. This guy, night in and night out, he rises to the occasion each and every night to give it his best. I'm sorry if I'm still stammering a little bit here, but I'm still trying to calm myself down after what just happened.
Well, Paul, I'm going to say this one last time, and I'll leave it alone. I signed my Ryse contract in June of 2018 to start in this promotion. I'm here to call the action as I see it, and I've never done anything that I wouldn't stand by when it comes to analyzing athletes, and that includes Shirley Doe. But back to our action here. So not only were these two competing in New York and Cleveland, Ohio, respectively last night, they also had to make the travel to get here to the Stronghold tonight.
Sure, I mean, that's the business, that's the nature of the business, man. You're on the road 300 plus days a year. One night in Cleveland, the next night in Pittsburgh. Tomorrow night, hey, it could be in West Virginia, you never know.
Soccer kick to the arm, 2 feet firmly in the chest, and while Envy Young may need all those bandages, it's quite frankly that the markings on his back is that no-ring deathmatch had a ton of debris involved. Look out. Moriarty puts on the brakes. Misdirection from Envy Young. Super kick to the thigh muscle. Takes Moriarty down to the concrete.
Get out here!
Envy Young joins. Swing and a miss from Moriarty. And into the edge of the apron goes the spine.
Yeah, that's solid steel there. There's not a lot of padding on that outside of the ring.
Envy Young, very smug, very brash, but he is just as talented as he thinks he is. And listen to the kicks.
Envy Young, we said it before, he's not just a wrestler, he's a fighter.
And out here on the concrete suits him perfectly because just 24 hours
look
ago,
at that.
There wasn't a ring to be had. And listen to that shot.
Lee Moriarty popping right back up, though, after that last shot by Envy Young. And these two just laying it to one another.
Look at Envy Young's back.
I mean, come on, you would not know by what's going on right now, the battle that these two were in separately in 2 different cities last night. You could never tell by the way they've started this match. Nothing slow, tooth and nail, full speed ahead for both wrestlers.
We talked about Envy Young's resume previously here. As he drops Moriarty again, focusing on the back. Clearly, Envy Young came into this matchup with a plan. And I'm sorry, I'm still out of sorts. I would be remiss to mention that, yes, Jim Sterling, the executive commander, so to speak, is here with Envy Young. And let's be honest here, if Sterling can find a way to stick his nose in this matchup, he's certainly going to do so.
Well, I knew he was out there. I'm just trying to choose my words carefully because I don't know how much trouble I'm in after tonight, not to mention after the last time he was out here.
Well, Doe was going to try to end Badger's career.
Well, that's exactly right. That's why I did what I did.
I honest to God, I commend you for going down there and doing something.
Well, if I'm fired for that, so be it.
As we're seeing these two continue to exchange strikes. Envy Young has very quickly become one of the best on the Ryse roster, but you want a true test of being the best in Ryse, Lee Moriarty may just be that benchmark.
That's right. Lee Moriarty has been here since Ryse Wrestling's inception, and he was the first Ryse Grand Champion. You want a measuring stick in Ryse Wrestling, look no further than Lee Moriarty.
And as I was saying about those bandages on Envy Young's body, he may need them to keep those lacerations from reopening, but he does kind of unintentionally put a target on himself.
Sure, like we've stated before, anytime an athlete wears a brace or a bandage, you might as well just say, hit me here.
Oh, man. Kick pinpoint right behind the ear. Up and over goes Moriarty. And damn, is he good inside those ring ropes. Double stomp.
Oh, landed it perfectly. Not only the stomp to the head, snapping his head back to the canvas, but all those scars and marks and stitches in the back of Envy Young. Every time his back hits that canvas, the pain's got to be excruciating.
You no doubt. While Moriarty exchanged submission holds with Alex Shelley, it was Casanova Valentine throwing objects at MV Young, who escapes there. That was very close.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from the submission match, because I'm sure Lee's a little out of sorts himself today from all the stretching and torquing of the body, I'm sure, that went on last night. But yeah, like I said, that's just raw, stitched skin rubbing against that canvas.
And Paul, for our fans, the majority of which have never been inside of a wrestling ring, how difficult can mat burn be when you have stitches?
Oh, it's excruciating. It's pain. It's like somebody's raking a fork down your back.
And look at the transition from MV Young directly into the choke.
Lee out the back door, though. Now he's got one of his own on.
If Lee can get those body hooks in, MV will have nowhere to go.
MV out the back door now.
And a dragon sweeper. MV wanted to avoid being countered again and switch to the dragon sweeper.
Sure, but Lee, that being the ring general he is for his young age, knew exactly where he was in that ring and made it to the ropes.
And this is the contest we expected it would be.
Get away from him, he's fine.
And again, as we've stated, these two young men going at it this hard, this fast, this physical, after both having grueling matches less than 24 hours ago.
Down MV Young. Diving at Moriarty. MV is such a unique combination of being unorthodox and technically skilled at the same time. Very difficult to prepare for.
Lee caught that leg that time.
Heel hook.
Got him hooked here.
Into the Border City stretch. That is an Alex Shelley maneuver. Clearly Moriarty learned something last night. Border City stretch.
Taking something away from his opponent of last night and bringing it to his opponent tonight.
You want to talk about how well Lee Moriarty studies? He is using a patented maneuver from an independent wrestling legend, and this may seal his victory here tonight in Connellsville.
MV Young able to get to those ropes, though.
And look at the intensity in the eyes of Moriarty. Moriarty knew he was in for a fight, always prepared, a sign of a true pro, but a released German. And a kick right on the chin.
That landed perfectly. Moriarty kicking out, though.
Lee's on Dream Street. MV's hitting the gas. He wants to put this one away. And again, such unorthodox, unique offense from MV Young. Moriarty expected MV to go high. MV went low.
Move and counter move, the ultimate game of human chess, as Gordon Solie used to say.
And these fans are behind the apex of combat.
Much to the chagrin of our general manager or ruling dictator or whatever he calls himself.
Jumping knee from Moriarty. MV stagger. And Sterling getting involved here.
So much for fair play.
And a knee right to the back of the neck.
He's got him hooked.
Damn it.
He got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of this match, and the result of the pinfall, the minister of being just plain sexy, the American attraction, MV Young!
Paul, I hate to say this, but this may be an indication of things to come. You're very proud of yourself. You're very proud of yourself, aren't you?
Give yourself a pat on the back.
I think he needs a breath mint, too.
Offer him a stick of gum next time he's out here.
This may be a sign of things to come with MV Young and the ruling class, because Moriarty just got shafted after a fantastic contest.
Introducing first, from the Rebels, weighing in tonight at 193 pounds, this is the Hotness, Troy Lawless.
Back here for the second half of Ryse Pro Wrestling, February 8th. Of 2020. My name's Jim LaMar. You're still Paul Atlas.
I'm still employed.
And right here we are seeing the very bizarre Troy Wards making his return here to the Stronghold. The last time that he was in this building, he choked out Lewis unconscious. Drake Braddock looking for a measure of revenge for his military intelligence partner, but Troy is looking to take yet another step up the ranks here in Ryse. And this 18-year pro is one dangerous, bizarre athlete.
That's right. Don't let that exotic personality fool you. Troy Lawless is a dangerous individual.
And introducing his opponent, weighing in tonight at 165 pounds, from Fort Indian Town, Pennsylvania, he is the Keystone Soldier, Drake Braddock.
The human personification of a can of Red Bull, the energetic, the eccentric, the Keystone State Soldier. Drake Braddock is back here in Ryse.
That's right, the genuine military hero, Drake Braddock. And he's here to get a measure of revenge for his running buddy, Lewis, against Troy Lawless.
And there is the pit bull mentality of Troy Wards.
Like I told you, don't let that exotic personality fool you one bit.
Troy Wards has a PhD in mind games and a master's degree in mat mechanics. As I said, he's an 18-year pro and is as well versed as anybody. He was underrated for several years, and quite frankly, that drove him over the edge to what you see today in this very exotic display.
Well, yeah, one time Troy and I were actually tag team partners, and this was not his personality back then, but he feels over the years a lot of people overlooked his talent.
Beautiful leg work, an example of that talent right there. You know, Paul, I have to wonder, I mean, you were a tag team specialist. We've talked about it on a number of occasions. In many ways, with that military intelligence team, Drake Braddock has become somewhat of a tag team specialist. We saw him in a tag match just 2 weeks ago in our Baldwin debut. How do you think Drake Braddock will adapt to a singles matchup here after competing almost exclusively in the tag division here, as we see a beautiful tilt-the-world satellite head scissor?
One thing he's going to have to watch right now is his wind, his conditioning, which the Keystone Soldier here, I'm sure he's always out there doing the calisthenics and running the mountaintops, but there's no way to tag out and catch your breath in a singles matchup.
Troy gets launched up into the lights. And let's not forget, as we talked about earlier, Lewis was one half of the equation to put Jim Sterling in power. Drake Braddock was that other half when they defeated David Lawless.
Yeah, you got to wonder what's on his mind with all this going on with our executive commander-in-chief.
So not only will he have to adapt to a singles matchup after competing primarily in tag team division, but as you said, he also has that mental strain weighing on him, as he could be, quote-unquote, partially responsible for Jim Sterling being in power here.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, we were all fooled by the guy.
Well, I thought Jim Sterling was so enthusiastic, wanted to help Ryse Pro Wrestling grow, really let more people have exposure to Ryse Pro Wrestling. As you can see our jam-packed crowd here. And it was all power. Sterling was in it for himself. It was an ego trip.
Well, we thought he would be using his huge social media presence to help boost Ryse Wrestling, when in reality he's just using it to boost his own ego.
Smooth transition from Troy here. Hangs on. And drops Drake Braddock face first. Lateral press.
Hooks the leg.
And Paul, as much as we talk about the fundamental and necessary aspects of a pinfall attempt, that right there was pinfall 101.
Sure.
Body on body contact, hooking the leg, and that is the true sign of the established veteran that Troy Ward is inside those ring ropes.
Like I said, he and I were tag team partners for a while. Yeah, we went down the road together. Yeah, as much as I know about the business, this guy taught me a lot too. To not ever sell Troy Ward short.
Drake shoots him in. Reverse from Troy. Troy charges. Drake goes up and over. And man, he's got Ward's all tied up.
This is, I believe he calls this the Draco Plata here. Submission maneuver.
Drake Braddock has such a natural agility that he blends in with that martial arts style. He really has an in-ring offense that is second to none here in Ryse. I don't think anyone has quite the game that Drake Braddock brings to the table. But he's in a precarious spot right now. Hung up is not where you want to be when you're in there with Troy Ward.
Here goes Troy to the top here. What's he setting him up for? Oh.
Guillotine leg drop. Almost psychosis style there. And again, you want to talk about fundamentals of pinfall attempts. Troy barred the arm with his hands and pinned down the other shoulder with his knee.
Sure,
a lot of times you see that in MMA when they try to neutralize a guard. That's exactly what Troy was doing here, but just in a different context.
Sure.
His objective, his goal in that case was to secure a 3 count, not necessarily to land unprotected shots.
No,
Troy
he tied him up.
Absolutely. That's really next level stuff.
Well, you know, we talked about how him being underrated drove him to this persona we see, but it also drove him to master the skills even more so, as we're seeing here.
Oh, he has an obsessive nature about pro wrestling. I mean, this guy, without blinking, without flinching, will sit.
5 minutes going by, 5 minutes.
And if you can vouch for this. Troy sits in front of the television studying matches from the eras gone by for hours at a time without blinking, without flinching.
You know, that is the one thing you got to know in this business, just like in any sport. Film study. Film study is the number one. Hold on.
Troy escapes. Continue, Paul.
Film study is the number one form of
education
in this business. Thank you.
And man, the bullet catcher is rolling. Throat thrust. That's a European style maneuver. Again, proof of that tape study. Oh, that was a nasty landing. That could have separated the shoulder.
Yeah, kind of an arm bar shoulder breaker variation there.
And almost an elevated chin lock.
But he's also got the knee in the back, and he's
twerking. The more that he pushes up on this chin lock, as you said, the more pressure.
Come on, you freak.
But Troy, a true ring general, reaches the ropes when it was available.
I knew exactly where he was in that ring.
What a night, Paul. I mean, for us, it's been out of hand. But when it comes to action, great contest here. Moriarty, MV Young. Tag action tonight.
I mean, not only for our capacity crowd here, but all the folks who will be watching this on IndyWrestling.us and the Indie Wrestling Network. You're seeing one hell of a night of wrestling here.
$5.99 a month. For less than one of those fancy cups of coffee, you can get hundreds of hours of wrestling content, original content. Schoolboy here.
And folks, if you can't afford $5.99 a month for all that, let me give you Jim LaMar's email address. He'll pay it for you.
Hey, what are you talking about?
Didn't you say you'd help him out?
I said I'd help you out.
Oh, sorry.
Drake puts on the brakes. And Troy suckered him in. Troy knew exactly what he was going to do in that exchange.
And look at him using that ring as a weapon.
That's a human chess match right there. Troy was thinking 2-3 moves ahead in that exchange.
Now has him tied up in there, those vicious cross faces.
And that could be the kiss of death right there as Trey Braddock.
How many times have we seen Troy Lords execute that maneuver to perfection?
Troy using his own momentum and gravity to inflict punishment. And the way that Troy moves inside those ring ropes is a little uncomfortable, and that's that head and arm choke. That's the same maneuver that choked out Lewis, and it may do in the other half of military intelligence.
Drake desperately trying to reach those ring ropes right now.
Drake Braddock has never quit in his life, but he's been choked out. He didn't tap out, but he passed out. Absolutely.
Who won this match as a result of submission? The hotness, Troy Lords!
Troy Lords is very quickly putting Ryse Pro Wrestling on notice. We said he was under the radar. We said he deserved an opportunity. And by any means necessary, he is putting Ryse and the entire Pittsburgh wrestling world on notice. He has arrived here in the Stronghold, and he is a force to be dealt with in this organization.
Introducing first, the company by Tyler Klein. From a yacht you definitely can't afford. Weighing in tonight at 24 karat gold, the fashionista of professional wrestling, Calvin Couture.
You want to talk about two snakes? Tyler Klein and Calvin Couture, two men that weighed the trap months in the making for BC Steel to stab his best friend in the back. And Paul, I did some investigating before we went on the air tonight. You want to know why BC Steel is not here?
I'm glad he's not here, but go ahead, you can tell me why.
He took an impromptu vacation, according to Calvin Couture. When I pressed on the reasons why, it's my belief that BC Steel was worried about RPW coming back here to kick his teeth in. So BC ran and hid like the coward that he is.
Oh, he ought to be worried about that. He backstabbed his best friend in real life.
So BC on an impromptu vacation because he's worried. He's looking over his shoulder that RPW may be in this building.
Yeah, it should be.
His opponent.
I forget to.
Tony, you fabulous!
I'd say thanks for that, but it's obvious.
Why does everybody keep calling me bald like I don't know?
This is some unique theme music.
From Bromberg, Indiana, weighing in tonight at 190 pounds, straight crazy, Brayden Lee.
This young man, Brayden Lee, another athlete that is making his debut on this event. This guy has been making waves all across the independent scene, Paul. When he's arrived here in Ryse Pro Wrestling, a highly touted prospect from IWA Mid-South to Chikara Pro Wrestling, into AIW in Cleveland. Brayden Lee's been making some treks out across the independent circuit. And if you're going to make waves among promotions like AIW, Chikara, and IWA, of course, when it comes to Pittsburgh, you got to be here in Ryse Pro Wrestling.
That's exactly it. You see these guys coming from all these different promotions. They're coming to one place, and that's Ryse Wrestling here in Pittsburgh to make a name for themselves. You know, Jim, I did a little investigating myself here, and found out that Tyler Klein was not too thrilled with some of the comments that we made about his ascot at our Baldwin event.
He thinks I'm hurting animals.
We've talked about his ascot, but there's a lot of things we could have called.
That's true. You got to be lucky he got away with what he did.
A snake in the grass, a con artist, a scam artist. Will that make him feel better?
As long as you don't call him a guy who wears an ascot, he's fine with it.
Brayden Lee!
Opening bell here. And despite BC Steel hiding with Jimmy Hoffa to avoid RPW, the odds are still tilted in Golden Sheik's favor because Tyler Klein is out here without a manager's license, by the way.
Yeah, you know what?
As much of a fraud as BC Steel is, at least the man has a manager's license.
I guess the rules are going to be a little more lax when it comes to things like that, thanks to our executive prime minister.
You know, Jim Sterling talking about politics, and somehow even Sterling isn't the most crazy politician that's around these days. And take that as you will, because you can apply that generalization across the board. You know, Paul, you'd be a good county commissioner.
I try to stay out of politics.
Calvin, come on.
I could see Senator Paul Harris.
Yeah, well, some people would say I did a lot of politicking back in the day, but hey, those guys are no longer in the business. And I'm still here.
I heard you paint houses.
Come on,
You never know.
Brayden Lee working on that top wrist lock, employed a back heel trip to get Calvin down to 1D, furthering the leverage. Smooth transition to the side headlock, and takes Couture down to the canvas. Why that's important? How do you win the matchup? On the canvas.
Calvin Couture turning it around there.
And we've talked about the physical chess match that we see evolves in these matches here. And that's what you're seeing there, defensive and offensive wrestling simultaneously.
Yeah, once again, as we've stated before, do not let the flamboyance of Calvin Couture.
I'll just say it. Calvin Couture can be a nasty bastard when he wants to.
Exactly, that's exactly right. He's got a mean streak a mile long. For all his glitter and sparkly robes and fancy bow ties, this guy will also punch you right in the mouth.
Think about how many months they planned and plotted together to set up RPW.
Oh, without a doubt. And you know, the proof is right there in the fact that BC Steel won't even come back into the building.
And I don't know if this is breaking the fourth wall too much, but yes, Ben Steele was legitimately Bobby Williams' best man at his wedding.
Sure. These guys did a lot together in this business over the years. And to turn around and try to smack the guy in the back of the head with a chair, I mean, you don't get any more dastardly than that.
And if he's willing to do that to his best friend for the almighty dollar, to get an advantage in the business world, how motivated does Golden Sheik have to be to get ahead here in Ryse Pro Wrestling? Nice agility from Brayden Lee here.
Well, if our Baldwin event was any indication of that, as we saw Golden Couture, Golden Sheik International attacked Tony Johnson, our Ryse Grand Champion.
Miscue from Golden Sheik.
Oh, what a shame.
What a vertical leap.
Tyler Klein got knocked on his ascot.
Sometimes I happen to think that Tyler Klein is an ascot. Look out! Fosbury Flop takes out everybody. We said Brayden Lee wanted to make a statement in Pittsburgh, and damn it, he's doing it.
This young man is turning out to be an amazing young athlete.
Paul, this is simple here. We live in the digital age. The digital age that if you can go viral, your entire career can change. The trajectory of your career can change. Brayden Lee knows that this matchup is going to be publicized through IndyWrestling.us, through our social media channels at Ryse Wrestling on the Indie Wrestling Network. Quite frankly, he stakes a flag out here in Pittsburgh. He will have the entire East Coast and part of the Midwest as his territory.
Sure, without a doubt. Like we said before, you want to make a name for yourself in Pittsburgh wrestling, Ryse is the place to be.
Interception from Brayden Lee. Springboards his way in. Oh, got caught. We know how smart, how much of a ring general, high ring IQ from Calvin. He exploited that opportunity and got two. That's one thing we can say about Couture. He is very skilled, very savvy, very technical.
Sure,
but he also has that ring IQ.
Look at that cover alone. He rolled all of his body weight of his opponent over top of him, Brayden Lee's, in an attempt to get that pinfall.
Brayden Lee favoring his neck. And Couture saw it.
Yeah, Couture's
but referee George isn't going to see this, as I believe Klein is using that ascot to choke Brayden Lee here.
Actually, it was the tape measure because he's still wearing the ascot.
And here's the nasty side of Couture. He was fish hooking Brayden Lee's mouth before, again, he drops down on the neck. And again, that goes to his ring generalship and his ring IQ. He saw his opponent favoring a body part, and he's working on it here. Springboard miscue. And we're going to see how much Brayden Lee wants to fight through the pain here. How much does he want it? But the odds are obviously stacked against him.
Once again, with Golden Sheik International, it's always that way.
You know, Paul, what irritates the hell out of me is Golden Sheik International, both individually and collectively, are very talented. They don't have to sink this low. They just take an ego trip to do it.
Sure, that's exactly right. That's all they want to do is be on top, no matter how and what it takes. They will do so, despite the fact that, like you said, these are all premier athletes.
And Brayden Lee's debut in Pittsburgh may not be what he was hoping for, because Couture is really stringing the moves together.
Driving that boot right into the jaw of Brayden Lee right now.
And that sinister smile from Couture tells you the story. Bona fide mean streak in that young man.
Yeah, but there his ego got a little bit better of him there with that lackadaisical cover.
Paul, what is so impressive about Couture, obviously not his attitude, he is such a natural inside those ring ropes. The man is only a 4-year pro.
Well, I'm impressed with his attitude. I never thought I'd see a man who would be a bigger ass than he is.
Look out here. Brayden out the back door. German.
Lands on his feet.
Oh, man.
And he just lit Calvin Couture up.
That'll stop your heart. Big contact in the corner.
And another one.
Brayden Lee's getting a second win. This young man is determined.
Lee rolls through again.
Unbelievable agility. Awe-inspiring agility. Springboard clothesline.
He caught him right on the jaw with that clothesline.
Paul, I'm going to say it right here. Win, lose, or draw, I'm going to see Brayden Lee back here in Ryse.
Oh, he has definitely earned himself a spot here based on this performance tonight.
Brayden hooks him up. Precarious spot for Couture. And he's making Couture think about it.
Yeah, look at the strength of this young man.
What core strength. Now, there was a slight hesitation before that pinfall attempt. I believe that's what cost Brayden in that exchange.
Yeah, just that little bit of hesitation there.
And I believe Brayden Lee's winning over this crowd as well, Paul.
Sure he is. Our capacity crowd getting well behind him here tonight.
Up and over he goes. Beautifully done. You can't say enough. Naturally gifted is Brayden Lee.
Now, wait a
but
minute now.
Paul, this is too much. Tyler Klein has to get out of here. He is ruining this young man's debut. Not that he cares, because it's all about Golden Sheik. But Brayden's catch! Beautiful shooting star, but no water in the pool. And it's because of Tyler Klein, and now Calvin's picking the bones.
The winner of this match as a result of the pinfall, professionista of professional wrestling, Calvin Couture!
Calvin Couture may look to prove that he didn't need RPW, but he sure as hell needed Tyler Klein, because Tyler Klein was critical to that victory for Golden Sheik International. There's no honor among thieves.
Once again, Golden Sheik International showing you just how dastardly they can be. And it's always a numbers game with these guys.
After the confrontation in Baldwin, you have to wonder, could Golden Sheik be targeting that grand championship?
Introducing first, from the Hall of Fame City, Canton, Ohio, weighing in tonight at 190 pounds, Trey LaMar!
We saw Trey LaMar in a show-stealing performance when he was in there with MB Young and Chase Oliver.
Yeah, this young man has proven time and time again in his little bit of time here in Ryse Wrestling that he is definitely here to compete.
And introducing his opponent, from where the wild things are, weighing in tonight at 238 pounds, he is the Bearcat, Haught!
The nicest man in professional wrestling. Paul, it's very divisive these days. People argue about everything. What color shirt you wear, what color your hair is, your haircut. But I think that we can all agree that we all love Keith Haught.
Oh, how can you not? This guy is always fun-loving everywhere he goes.
Well, I'm not saying this as a wrestling announcer. I'm telling you straight up. Keith Haught is one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. And you know that he loves to compete. And we are going to see a very unique contest here against Trey LaMar. Fan favorites here, Paul. I don't think we're going to see, as much as we saw Golden Sheik try to exploit the rules here, I think we're going to see a clean athletic contest between these two young men.
Oh, sure. And, Keith, he's still looking for a way to rebound here against the losses that he's suffered over the last several months.
He's been on a skid, undoubtedly. Yeah. And I said, I love the guy. I think he's legitimately one of the genuinely nicest human beings I've ever met. But his win-loss record is not great. Colby Red in Baldwin 2 weeks ago tattooed Keith right between the eyes and put him down for the count.
Yeah, you couple that up with the several attempts he's made at trying to win the Ryse Grand Championship. Our last event here in this building against his good friend Tony Johnson, he was on the losing end once again.
And let's not forget, one Zach Thomas was originally scheduled for this matchup. He was signed to a contract with BC Steel for Ryse Pro Wrestling. And believe it or not, Zach Thomas claimed that Keith Haught was not up to par, was not competitive enough for him, not up to his standard. Very arrogant, in my opinion, from Zach Thomas.
Yeah, that could be a mistake right there.
So Zach Thomas simply chose not to sign for the match.
Sure,
He
Trey LaMar doesn't care. He'll fight anybody.
Yeah, Trey LaMar will compete anywhere, anytime. Zach Thomas is arrogant enough to think that Keith Haught is not up to his level. I disagree. Wow, big mid-ring contact. Keith using his size advantage there. And Paul, I know I've belabored this point, but I do have to say, in the world we live in, sometimes it's difficult to have hope. Keith Haught gives me hope. Such a good guy.
That's a good thing. And I'll tell you, not very often. I mean, Keith is a very thick individual, but this is one of the rare times where not only in size but stature that Keith has actually got the advantage.
Shoots LaMar in. Beautiful agility from LaMar, a trademark of his career. Rolls through. Man, Keith got hung up. Hits the concrete, but he's not safe out there. LaMar could be going for a highlight reel.
He did. Right to the floor.
You know, Paul, true story. My dad met Trey LaMar once, told him he was very talented, and the parting words that Mr. O'Malley gave Trey LaMar, "You're good, kid, just be careful jumping out of the ring. You gotta be careful."
I don't think Trey LaMar cares about that. He just loves jumping out of that ring and on top of anybody that he can land on.
He's really a part of the evolution of professional wrestling in many ways.
That
a true hybrid athlete. And there's no chance he won't take to pursue greatness in this sport. What height? 2.5. And if we can here, because this action is moving so fast. We talked about Keith Haught's story. I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. You heard in our introductions, LaMar from the city of Canton, Ohio. That is one of the most dangerous cities in America. And Trey LaMar uses professional wrestling as his way toward a better life.
Sure, professional wrestling pretty much saved this young man's life.
And it's really a remarkable story, and quite frankly, and I mean this sincerely as well, it's tremendous to see Trey LaMar find success in professional wrestling. Out the back door here. Keith, again, using that low center of gravity to his advantage.
Yeah, that's just it right there.
And you can see that LaMar was thrown off by that.
Sure. Trey LaMar is used to working and wrestling guys who are a lot quicker.
And again, low center of gravity, using it to generate momentum for an elbow of his own there.
Sure. Trey LaMar doesn't always have a size advantage necessarily, but he's never fought an athlete in quite the shape of Keith Haught, that's for sure.
Keith Haught is such a unique commodity because, as you said, let's be honest here, the guy's got a stomach. He enjoys some food, but he's quick, he's agile. He uses his unique body structure as an asset. And it takes a really special athlete to be able to do that.
Sure, like Dusty Rhodes used to say, his belly might be a little big and his hiney might be a little big, but he is one hell of an athlete.
And we're seeing it right there because he's hanging in there step for step with one of the most agile and one of the most fast athletes that we've seen in Ryse so far. I mean, let's be honest here. But LaMar avoided the contact that time. And as far as we're talking about good stories, another good story, see how Ryse Pro Wrestling continuing to evolve and continuing to grow. It's great to see the seats jam-packed here tonight at the Stronghold.
We'll be back in Baldwin again next month, hopefully to another sellout crowd.
Haught follows LaMar in.
5 minutes long, 5 minutes.
LaMar avoids the contact. Beautiful shotgun drop kick.
You see the way Keith just bounced out of that corner from that
ricocheting on
drop
impact.
kick.
Absolutely. LaMar is perched.
A lot of leg strength by Trey LaMar there.
No water in the pool and a double stomp. Keith Haught intercepts.
Big Samoan drop.
Hit the Samoan drop perfectly. LaMar got the shoulder up. You can see the toughness of LaMar. He has pain etched on his face, but he wasn't going to relinquish this opportunity. LaMar looks at every matchup as a chance to prove himself in this sport.
Oh, wow. You could just hear that impact.
And just listen to this, Paul.
You can just hear the smack of flesh on bone.
LaMar's going to rally here. And Keith Haught showing his veteran status. And made sure he landed it perfectly.
Yeah, he didn't catch it all the first time, but he made sure he got it the second.
But this has been such a fast-paced, aggressive matchup. You can see that both athletes are worn down. This matchup is taking its toll, and rightfully so.
Sure, these guys are going at it tooth and nail here for the better part of almost 10 minutes.
Keith favoring that left arm. And this is where you got to ask yourself, it's gut check time.
Yeah, how bad do you want it?
Up and over goes LaMar. LaMar hurls himself at Keith Haught. Nice series of strikes. And the payway kick connected that
he
time.
caught him that second time.
Top
Watch
of the
out
head.
Here, you notice, despite how tired both these athletes are, LaMar was able to grab that outside leg to make sure Keith Haught could not put it on that bottom rope to break that pin attempt.
Very wise observation, Paul. And LaMar could be going to the sky. He got caught, I believe. Yeah. Keith again using his veteran sense to sucker LaMar in.
LaMar took a little bit too much time trying to set that up.
High risk here.
LaMar trying to block this attempt here.
Pivotal point in this contest, Paul. Oh, man. Keith went crashing to the canvas.
Yeah, LaMar caught him with that kick.
And LaMar's taking that home run swing. He's going for broke. Double stomp.
Oh my God.
Gotta be it. Back press. No. Right shoulder comes up and LaMar is in shock.
He did not have his weight fully over the top of Keith Haught's shoulders.
LaMar looks exhausted, Keith Haught looks exhausted, but this right here is competition.
These guys have been going at it fast and furious now.
There are no shortcuts here. These two just want to see who is the best on this given night.
They're pretty much holding each other up at this point.
Rolling elbow connects. Sit out Liger bomb, could be all. I don't know how he kicked out of that.
Unbelievable. This is, this is without a doubt an impressive match by these two young men.
This has been an impressive night, Paul, up and down the card.
Sure.
And we still have our grand championship match. This is Ryse Pro Wrestling right here.
And see, anything can happen. I even leave the announce table once or twice.
Keith trying to assert his dominance over LaMar. Man, big mid-ring collision. Keith had enough wherewithal to fall forward.
Incredible.
I am at a loss, Paul. I'm at a loss for words.
Amazingly, both these athletes are still standing and still battling.
And now it's Keith Haught that must be willing to take a risk to put this one away. But what is Troy Lawrence doing out here?
Troy Lawrence is making his way down the ringside.
Troy has no right to be here.
He's talking to Keith Haught.
Well, Keith was distracted. I don't blame him with somebody like Troy Lawrence looking at you. The distraction allows LaMar. LaMar gets out of the way. LaMar is still trying to regain his composure. He doesn't know what's going on. Springboard clothesline. Clearly, Troy Lawrence is playing mind games with Keith Haught. Bulldog driver from LaMar. And that will do it.
Troy Lawrence with just enough of a distraction.
The winner of this match as a result of the pinfall, Trey LaMar!
And I don't know what the story is with Troy Ward, but he left his fingerprints on this matchup.
He provided just enough of a distraction to Keith Haught that he missing that splash off the top, and Trey LaMar was able to get the victory.
LaMar has put himself on the winning track here at Ryse, but the skid continues for the Bearcat.
And where does this leave Keith Haught?
Well, I don't want to doubt Keith Haught, but the Bearcat may be at a real crossroads in his Ryse career.
Yeah, he can't endure too many more losses like this, Jim.
Our Grand Championship, our feature presentation, coming up next.
Start the party without me.
Wait a minute!
It is time for our feature presentation. My name's Jim Amato, your Paul Atlas. And just 2 weeks ago at our debut in Baldwin, which you can pick up at IndyWrestling.us and the Indie Wrestling Network, Jim Sterling decided to put Dr. Dan in a title matchup just because the ruling class wants the Grand Championship. They want that final piece to solidify their power. Dr. Dan didn't get it done. He came very close, but he didn't get it done. So of course, Jim Sterling, it's the next man up, and he just happens to grant the gavel a title shot just 2 weeks later here tonight.
Oh, isn't it amazing how that worked out well that way for them?
Nepotism at its best. But we know that the gavel is top tier, as much as I hate to say it. The gavel is a real threat to the Ryse Grand Championship.
One more label try to stop me, it's gonna be some dread.
He is Tony Johnson. He is the Iceman. And you better damn sure believe he is the Ryse Grand Champion. The man that wrestled his way through the rise of a contender tournament. The man that finally unseated the dominant champion Matt Connor. The man that defeated Dr. Dan in Baldwin just 2 weeks ago. But clearly the ruling class has their plan. The Iceman doesn't sweat anybody but you better believe he should have eyes in the back of his head here tonight.
Well, yeah, the one thing that Tony Johnson's going to find out, or actually is finding out right now, it's a lot easier to chase that title than it is to be the one being chased.
Introducing first the challenger, weighing in tonight at 231 pounds, he's Executive Commander Sterling's Minister of Law. He is the Gavel, David Lawless, Esquire.
Lawless is looking very confident.
Well, wouldn't you if the deck was stacked in your favor?
And introducing the champion, weighing in tonight at 195 pounds, from St. Louis, Missouri, he is the Ryse Grand Champion, the Iceman, Tony Johnson.
He is as cold as ice. He lives up to his name. Tony Johnson doesn't sweat anybody, not even the ruling class. Once again, it is time for our feature presentation for the Ryse Grand Championship, February 8th of 2020. My name is Jim Lotta, being joined by the Pittsburgh legend Paul Atlas. The champion Tony Johnson defends against the challenger, the Gavel, David Lawless.
Yeah, and I would be remiss if I didn't say, David Lawless is no stranger to championship matches, as he's come within a hair's breadth more than once of beating both Matt Connard and Lee Moriarty as former champions, so he's no stranger to these matches.
And a cheap shot to get us started should shock absolutely no one.
No.
But as we're being brought to you here by IndyWrestling.us and the Indie Wrestling Network, we're going to find out just who will be the Ryse Grand Champion when we return to this building on March 7th, a little over a month away.
Yeah, and I have a feeling if you ask our General Prime Minister in charge of law, Jim Sterling, he would say that David Lawless is going to have that championship.
And when you want to talk about power plays and power positions, Jim Sterling swerved everybody. He made us believe that he genuinely cared about Ryse Pro Wrestling. He cared about his own ego. He wants to use Ryse as a platform to fuel his own ego.
That's exactly what he did.
He is the dangerous mind behind the muscle of Dr. Dan, of David Lawless, and MV Young. He's the general, and he has his soldiers in place here.
Yeah, this guy loves his titles. He's a general prime minister in charge of ruling.
And you know the title that matters most to him is that Ryse Grand Champion.
That's exactly it. I think this always a power play to guide one of his buddies to the Ryse Grand Championship.
If the ruling class obtains that Grand Championship, there is no one that has any power to stand up against Jim Sterling.
Well, no, he just makes up the rules as he goes along. Hey, my one buddy didn't win, I'll put my other buddy in there.
And as much as Tony Johnson scratched and clawed, it would be a shame if his title reign ended under these circumstances, but that's the reality that he's facing.
Well, that's exactly true,
and
Jim.
that's the change in the dynamic of going from the challenger to becoming the champion.
Sure, it's like I said, it's a lot easier to chase than it is to be chased.
And how Tony Johnson weathers the storm here. If he's able to stay calm as he always does, how he weathers the storm will determine. Now, and this is what I'm talking about. He was focused on David Lawless, has to turn his attention to Jim Sterling, allowing Lawless to sucker him to blindside.
Sure, and as the executive ruling prime minister in charge of ruling people, you don't think he's going to find himself, do you?
Trademark offense from Lawless, using the hops, the vertical leap, to find 2. And the cravat-style headlock is going to keep the champion on the canvas.
Yeah, look at the way he's twisting Tony Johnson's neck here with that.
Man, again, the vertical leap. That's what I'm telling you. As much as it pains me to say the cover here, 2.5. As much as it pains me to say it, I get the pain right in the middle of my sternum. David Lawless is a well-conditioned athlete. We see it time in and time out.
Well, you can't take that away from him. It's his attitude and his arrogance that drives you insane.
I need a Benadryl after these guys out.
We all know how I feel about lawyers.
Surely you see why we are the ruling class. Surely you can understand.
I think with the amount of court costs you paid in your time, you could probably fund a wrestling promotion.
Oh, without a doubt. I'd even be able to pay you.
Hey, thanks, pal. And now this is David Lawless showboating in the middle of a grand championship match.
Oh, yeah, he's got,
again, an ego trip.
He's got Sterling out there, our chief executive officer, in charge of whatever he's in charge of.
Well, he's in charge of all of us, and that's what scares the hell out of me. If he wants to send us packing, he has the authority to do so.
Well, I told you, I got that letter. I almost thought I was.
And Lawless just chop-blocked Tony Johnson, who is screaming in agony right now, and this does not bode well for the Ryse Grand Champion.
Look at that, like a wild animal. Lawless going right after that knee.
Twisting and contorting the knee before he drove it into the canvas.
Oh, it hurts.
And Paul, obviously the reason you're sitting up here is because of knee injuries.
Yes.
How do you deal with a knee injury? Oh, come on, what a disrespectful...
What in the world is he...
He's slapping the champion, Paul. How much respect does Jim Sterling have for Ryse Pro Wrestling to slap the champion?
Took his glove off. I think he just challenged him to a duel. I'm not sure.
But as I was trying to say before Sterling interjected himself here, how does an athlete adjust mid-matchup when dealing with the knee injury?
No, it's very hard. I mean, that's your base. You can't stand. It's hard to fight. You gotta try to block that pain out.
And I'm not trying to sell him short because I think Tony Johnson is tremendous. But with that perceived knee injury, he could be on borrowed time.
Oh, without a doubt. I can tell you myself, I've had to wrestle through matches with torn meniscus, sprained ACLs, my knee joint dislocated. It's not fun. You've got to block that pain out, and you've got to press on. If Tony Johnson wants to remain the Ryse Grand Champion, he's got to forget about that knee injury and do what he can to get back on his feet here and defeat the Gavel David Lawless.
Well, this is the way Lawless wants to win the Grand Championship.
Oh, he don't care.
I hope he's proud of himself.
He damn sure is. All he wants is that title belt. He don't care how he gets it.
Well, there's no honor among thieves, as a great man once said. And I believe that tells you the MO of the ruling
Get out of here. Lawless going for that figure 4 leg lock. Oh, Sterling now adding additional leverage.
And I'm going to tell you what, as far as being ring savvy, think of what David Lawless is doing right now. He is employing a submission attempt and a potential pinfall predicament at the same time.
You can't fault Nick Brown here. He's doing his job. He's asking Tony Johnson if he's had enough. He's watching his shoulders. All the while, Sterling's out here pulling on Lawless, adding pressure to that knee.
I believe that the gavel may have been caught with his hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah, but now referee got to get in here and break that hold. There we go.
And I believe this Ryse crowd is telling Sterling that he should take a hike. The gavel ran into the back elbow, but the champion is staggered very, very heavily right here.
He's definitely been slowed down now. Tony Johnson unable to use that leaping ability and agility of his right now with that knee injury.
Release German folds the gavel on the back of his head. And that may be the last swing for the Grand Champion. That may be the last shot that he has to walk out of here with that championship intact.
He's trying to fight through that pain right now.
Twisting backbreaker, but that may have inflicted just as much damage to Johnson.
Those twisting movements put a lot of torque on his own knee. Lawless now makes his way to his feet. Johnson goes for that bicycle kick.
Gavel's got him hooked up. Beautiful Northern Lights by the champion! And Paul, it was that knee.
Yeah.
He couldn't keep the base on the canvas because of the pain on that knee, and that right there is the only thing that allowed Lawless to escape.
Yeah, Johnson actually picked that knee up off the canvas to try to straighten it out because of the pain in it. And that gave the gavel the opportunity to kick out. Straight right hand now by Tony Johnson. He's going to try that springboard move.
Does he have enough? Paul, that's it. We got a new champ.
This has to be it.
How did Johnson kick out?
Incredible.
That's toughness right there.
Without a doubt. This is showing you right now just how much and how bad Tony Johnson wants to remain the Ryse Grand Champion. Gavel up and over now.
And you can see Johnson fighting with a sense of urgency. He knows he's on borrowed time with that knee. The longer this matchup goes, the more it favors the gavel.
Sure, most definitely.
Well, he can't do. Paul, this is going too far.
Johnson doing
Johnson's going to hit the apron or the concrete, Paul. Look out, this is dangerous. Backcracker on the apron.
Yeah, but how much did that take out of Tony Johnson? He had his own back hit that canvas, hit that ring apron as well.
That was a car crash as both competitors landed on the concrete. And all of a sudden the executive commander is looking a little concerned for his protege.
As he should.
Man, they both hit the concrete very hard.
Hey, how much did you throw him in the ring? Obvious.
And Sterling is imploring the gavel to get up.
This could be a count out here. Well, we have a...
It's a double count out.
What do we have here?
Nah. You see, I don't think that Tony Johnson, champion of the people, would want this to end on a count out. Would you? The fans deny the decisive finish? This match is no count out.
Okay, well, I guess we're changing the rules as we go along here.
Now, of course, nobody wants a championship matchup to end in a double count out, but
yeah, but it did.
They hit the concrete, Paul, and now the gavel's picking the bones. Paul, they both hit the concrete. This matchup should be over.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a 10 count, but our Chief Wario officer has decided that it's no countouts now.
Johnson out the back door, but he can barely stand.
Caught the gavel right on the chin with that knee. Going for that springboard again. He got him that time.
And he is emptying the tank here against the odds, against the stack deck. Turnabout fair play, and ace crusher from the Iceman.
Sure, I mean, let's face it, this match should already be over. The gavel kicks out again.
And I got to repeat myself, the longer this goes, it favors the gavel.
Sure.
Tony is still favoring that knee.
As this match goes on, that knee's not actually going to get better and heal itself. It's going to get progressively worse. And not only, should Tony Johnson pull this out and retain the championship, what about future?
How's he going to defend on March 7th? Absolutely. And he may not have to defend on March 7th. It may be the gavel that walks into this building as the champion.
Just that close. You can't get much closer than that. And the gavel is starting to rethink his entire life right now. What does he got to do to win this championship?
And how much egg on the face would there be for David Lawless if even with the odds tilted in his favor, he comes up short?
Oh, sure.
Yes, I can beat him!
But then again, how much strategy, how many tricks does Sterling have up his sleeve? Gavel went for the low blow and got caught. And hit it that time right in front of the referee.
The ref saw him. Calling for the bell is Nick Brown.
A blatant disqualification.
For this match, yoink! Don't you just hate it when matches end with a disqualification? Doesn't that really suck? You see, as the executive commander of Ryse, I feel it is my duty to give you filthy, miserable peasants some random surfaces to amuse you so you don't think about how miserable your pointless lives are. So, as an act of generosity, and to show that the ruling class aren't such bad guys, this match is now no disqualifications. Ting, ting, ting.
So wait a minute. These guys can do whatever they want until Lawless wins the title. That's what's happening.
I'm guessing that's what's happening is once again our chief executive vice president of whatever.
He's got more excuses than the Nixon tapes, damn it.
And now damn 18 seconds. It'll get you every time.
And now he's putting Lawless's foot. Now he's getting physically involved. Putting Lawless's foot on the rope. So they're going to continue to make up rules until Lawless wins this match.
Yeah, it appears is what's about to happen.
It's BS, Paul.
And what can we? There's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, we got to sit out here and take it.
Yeah, let's face it. Our jobs are in these guys' hands.
The gavel. And if you're Johnson, what the hell do you do? Back elbow.
I mean, what if he pins Lawless? Will be no pinfalls by the champion? Will that be the next rule he makes?
Well, we may never get there because he just spiked the Iceman. No!
Johnson's foot is on the rope.
Paul, he got his foot on the rope. Johnson.
No, referee is calling.
He absolutely had his foot. Paul, we saw it.
And I believe our referee has seen it as well.
What the hell is going on? That's not his championship. We've got chaos in the feature presentation.
And now what's Sterling gonna make a rule no foot on the ropes?
Ladies and gentlemen, per the referee, Tony Johnson's foot was on the rope, thus constituting a rope break. This match will be restarted.
Paul, I don't know. Wait a minute,
small
inside cradle, shoulders down.
He got him.
The winner of this match, as a result of the pinfall, we Iceman Tony Johnson.
Tony Johnson has completely overcome the odds. Everything Sterling threw at him. Everything Lawless threw at him. And look out, here comes that rat bastard FB Young.
Jim Sterling is going psychotic at ringside, and FB Young just cheap shotted Johnson. The ruling class is going to try to take Johnson out. We need help out here.
We got to do something.
Somebody, anybody that can hear me, get out here.
Look out, here comes military intelligence.
The same guys that Starwing burned in this plot are back here for revenge.
Well, I guess we know where these guys stand.
It's fine. It's fine. We only need time, Mr. Johnson. And I've got all the time in the world. So at the next edition of Ryse, you will defend your Grand Championship against the gavel, David Lawless.
Wait a minute. He had his shot.
And Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham.
Oh, now he's making it a handicap?
Match.
So there's two more of his running buddies? This guy's insane.
Oh, wait! There's more! Military intelligence! You know, I like you guys.
I don't like you.
I managed you when I first came here. I thought of maybe even offering you a place at the high table. But since you decided to get involved, you, Lewis, and you, Drake Braddock, will fight each other in a loser leaves Ryse match.
What?
He can't do that.
What? Not only is he stacked against him.
Well, I guess we gotta sign off here.
He's stacking the deck left and right here.
For Paul Atlas, I'm Jim Alana. IndyWrestling.us, the Indie Wrestling Network, RiseWrestling.com. We'll be back here March 7th. We'll be in Baldwin March 21st. Tony Johnson defends against the Gavel and the Doctor.
Military intelligence, one of these guys is going to be out of here.
Could the Grand Championship be doomed by the ruling class?
Sidekick Media Services. We are your sidekick in business for social media, video production, and more. Find out more at sidekickmediaservices.com.